Are you struggling to conceive? You have options, and at Piedmont Reproductive Endocrinology Group, we'll make sure you have the guidance and support you need. PREG is known for individualized fertility care that's unique to every patient. We take the time to provide a reassuring and empowering experience because we believe that you deserve nothing less. Let us help you on your journey to parenthood. Visit us at pregonline.com to learn more. Get the guidance and support you need at Piedmont Reproductive Endocrinology Group.
So you're up in Rochester, Michigan. Now I have a friend, my college roommate grew up he's from Farmington Hills. He grew up near me.
Okay. Well,
So you're
Farmington's about
what is it?
30 miles from us on the other side of Detroit, on the west side of Detroit. We are east of Detroit.
Nice. And do you have a recording studio there? Is that all yours?
Yes. We have 148 South Street studio. And we have we've been blessed. We've done a lot of recordings and stuff for lots of different bands and artists. And then we also have a publishing company that Sonny and I own called Underdog Music and Publishing.
Beautiful, and beautiful Rochester. So do you have a lot of clients who come up to record at the studio?
We've got a fair number, what's been interesting is that the COVID situation really changed things a lot. We were running about 15 to 18 artist bands a month in the studio prior to COVID. And now we're lucky if we see 4 or 5.
Yuck.
Nic opened the studio 10 years ago. This year, in October, it'll be 10 years since he opened his studio. And I've only been working with him for about 3 years. Yeah. And but it's like a full sound studio. It's a live stage, and they do live streaming and stuff. So all the live streams that Sunny Bleau has done have been straight from our stage. So bands come in, they want to put together promo videos and electronic,
EPKs.
The EPKs, and that's the kind of stuff that I was helping with. And then it was like, well, we've got all this, I've got all these songs. I don't really know what to do with them. I don't think I want to be the person singing them. So let's start a publishing business. I'll sing some demos and we'll get them out to people we know. And in the industry, people Nic has known for a really long time. And so we would do that. And then the feedback we kept getting was, who is this person singing the demo? And why isn't she releasing these songs? And I kept telling Nic, I was like, I can't be the person doing it. I can't go on tour. I can't be a brand. I have 4 little children at home. There's no way that I could do this. So for about a year, we kept trying to get songs out, like Holy Water and Hellfire. We tried getting it out and having other artists do it. And again, it was the kind of feedback we were getting was, she really just needs to release this. Other people can't sing it the way she sings it. And so when COVID started and everything stopped, the communication between people we knew in other places of the country, nobody knew what to do. And it was like, well, I'm going to keep writing music and I might as well just start recording it and doing it for myself. Because why not? What do I have to lose at this point?
we get there in life like that. It's like, let's just do this,
Just do it. Exactly.
It's really by happenstance, though. Here, you thought you're just going to be like just a songwriter, like a Bernie Taupin type, and that's like, tag, you're it. Your voice is great.
And honestly, I never think of myself as a vocalist. I mean, I have sung everywhere from church to what's the word? Theater, doing musicals and stuff, just little things in between. And, I'd sing at a wedding. Somebody wanted a special song. I would do something like that for a friend. But I was always a writer and always a storyteller. And so I always think of myself as being a storyteller first and a vocalist second.
Oh. So you grew up, did you grow up in the Rochester area?
I did not. I'm actually from Scottsdale, Arizona.
Oh, wow.
And I moved to Michigan when I graduated high school in 2001. And I went to a very small private liberal arts college, and I studied English because I originally thought I was going to be going, teaching, and but I loved creative writing. I wrote lots of plays, one acts, that kind of stuff. And at the time, this very small school had a tiny theater department. Okay, and we were lucky that we could even find the space and the funds to do 2 shows a year. And so I started helping there, auditioning. I mean, it was at the time where like they will take anybody who wants to help out, gets a role in the theater because we were so small. And so my senior year, I was writing one act plays, and other students would direct them. And I decided, okay, I got to go to grad school. And I wasn't sure if I wanted to go into a creative writing program at one university or into theater at another university. So I said, I'm going to apply to both of them and just see where God leads me. And I ended up getting into Wayne State's theater program down in Detroit. And so I ended up getting my master's in theater. And I studied a lot of design. I was not a performer. I wanted to direct. I wanted to do the lighting designs, the set designs. That's really what I wanted to do. So I was going to school and simultaneously working with the theater department back at this small liberal arts college in Rochester. And that whole time, I had no idea that his studio was literally a half a mile away from the campus. I had no idea. He was there the whole time.
Life is just so weird that way. It's like the opportunity's right there, and then like all of a sudden, bam, you could just take advantage of it. So it's great. And who would ever thought the Detroit area, but Detroit has a great music history. So you're part of that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, she is.
Yeah.
Yes, she is.
So what made you go from Arizona to Michigan? It was just the education that you were seeking?
Yes, it was the education and this wonderful boy I met online, and I just had to move across the country to be with him. And we were together for 5 years before we got married, and then we were married for 15 years. And I got to a point where I knew I wasn't using the gifts and the skills that I needed to be using in life. I was a stay-at-home mom for 9 years, raising my family, and I was extraordinarily unhappy and unfulfilled because I knew I wasn't living my purpose. And once I started rehearsing with some other little bands, rehearsing at the studio, which is how I met Nic, I rekindled my love for music. And after, 10 years of not writing music, it was like all of this stuff started coming back. And now I have stories to tell. And I found somebody that was willing to help work on those songs with me and help get them published, and, who believed in me. And things just went from there. So, some people would say she had a midlife crisis. She's approaching 40 years old and has decided to go off on a total different, direction in her life. And she's leaving her health insurance in her home and all of the safeties and the comforts of, that this marriage provided me to go off to try to be a star in a way. And I can see how a lot of people would think that, but my soul was not settled, if that makes sense. I knew that I was supposed to be doing something different with my life, and I couldn't do it where I was. So with the help of my family, who has been my biggest supporters, which I'm very surprised how they really have rallied around me to make this dream a reality. They have been the main reason I was able to find the courage to move in this direction. My parents, when I told my dad, I said, I'm going to do it. I'm going to try to be a brand. He was like, it's about time. So they saw this in me from, as a kid, as a teenager, writing songs and everything. And I just didn't see it in myself, if that makes sense.
I have to tell you, recently we got video footage of a very young Sonny Bleau.
Oh, love when that stuff comes up, right?
Oh, yeah. 5 years old. Okay. And with her older brother and older sister. And they were the Arizona Country Kids. And on stage at a talent show. And she was amazing then. And she was 5.
I played the fiddle. My sister played the banjo, which literally weighed more than she did. And my brother played the guitar. And we brought the house down at North Ranch Elementary School. House came down, dropped the mic moment, playing Boil Them Cabbage Down and Rocky Top.
And it's like an addiction. You feel 20 feet tall after, doing this in front of an audience and getting the positive reception. So it's like, it's got to be very addictive at that point.
Absolutely. What's really cool is April 1st is coming up. April 1st marks 1 year since Sonny Bleau and the Moons released our first single. And that was He's My Peach. And I cannot believe what has happened with Sonny Bleau and the Moons in this last year. Like in 1 year, we've had 6 singles, 5 music videos, an album that charted that debuted at number 38.
Right.
And all kinds of wonderful articles and stuff, reviews written about us. I never would have thought that this would have happened in our first year, especially coming out of COVID.
It's great because you didn't have to go to New York or Los Angeles. A lot of stuff came to you right there in Michigan. How did you two do you remember the moment you met and then said, hey, we're going to be a great collaboration now?
I do.
He remembers the moment we met.
I was playing at a show the day I met her. So she came to see us performing live. And I hadn't even talked to her yet. Okay. And I was just enchanted. Okay. I just was. I mean, her personality, her persona. Okay. She commanded the room without saying a word. Okay. And it was just awesome. Okay. It was just awesome. And I said to her, I said, I really want you to come to the studio. I want to hear you sing. And she was saying, no, I'm not going to do that.
Because at the time I was in another group with some people that he was in a band with. I was really transitioning out of doing church music, and I was a cantor at the Catholic Church for a really long time.
New on Curiosity Stream. How do you connect a 16th century potato to limitless energy production? Could Napoleon's toothpick have a direct link to a machine that predicts the future? And how can a 1700s conch shell chart a course to humans connecting their brains to the internet? James Burke's visionary series Connections returns for a new generation. Experience all new Connections. With monthly, annual, and bundled plans, find the one that works for you at curiositystream.com.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
And so I was just getting my feet wet And these guys kept saying, you got to meet Nic. You got to come to the studio. And I was like, I'm not going to go to the studio. Like, as you know, like I've been told, come to my studio. Like, I'm not doing that, you know? And so I met him. He kept inviting me. And the next day, my friends are texting me, you're going to come to our rehearsal on Tuesday? You're going to come? You're going to come? And I was like, I don't know, maybe. I was just hemming and hawing over the whole thing.
She was pretty timid. So I basically threw her into it when she did finally show up and made her sing.
I walked in the door.
I was,
what you need.
This is awesome.
And I walked in, I was wearing like yoga pants and tennis. She's like, I wasn't there. I was just there to visit. You know, I wasn't there to do anything.
Yeah, the typical mom.
I had these songs and I was like, okay. And I was so nervous to play a song from, I mean, I taught myself how to play the guitar out of necessity when I was doing a lot of church stuff. And, but I never wanted to be a guitarist. It wasn't something I was interested in. I didn't like the idea of all the technology that I felt like went with, you know, playing an electric guitar and the pedals and all this. That just doesn't interest me. So I was like, hey, to play church music, I really only need to know 3 chords, maybe 5. And I'm okay with that. And as long as there's a capo, I'm good. So this is the kind of thing that I did and that many, 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 many people do. And so I was like, okay, I've got this. And I've got these songs that I want to play for Mr. Nic Coco. And now I'm going to share it. I'm going to get my dinky guitar and I'm going to strum a few chords for it. I was so nervous to play in my song, you know? And, but eventually I did. And slowly I'd get, you know, more comfortable playing in front of him, even though he'd be like, just give me the guitar. I'll do it. I'm like, okay, good. So now when I write a song, he knows I've got a loose idea of how I want the melody to go. And I was like, so this is the song. Now you make it better. You take the guitar and you make it better. So that we work really well like that.
Yeah, she is great at writing lyrics, and she's actually really great at melody. She just is. She finds the melody. She finds how the movement needs to go. And then I do the arrangements.
Yeah. How do you find the melody? Do you find the melody on your voice or just the chords on the guitar? I mean, I know a lot of us can have melodies in our heads and we have to enunciate to people like you, like the producer.
I don't know. I really don't. I think it's all about the story and the words that I need to say and the emotional roller coaster you go on when you're telling the story. So, you know, I don't sit down at a piano and pick out a melody line. I don't think I've never done that. It's like, you know, sometimes Nic will have a guitar line that he's playing and it's like, and I just kind of hum something with it. And I'm like, hey, can you just loop that? Can you just do that whole section again? And sometimes the words and the melody flow directly from that. But I guess, like, I don't really know how it happens. It just does. So
yeah. Does that all happen in the studio when do you come in with the lyrics or you're in the studio, you kind of have half lyrics and you're kind of like etching it out there between yourselves?
Right. So sometimes it's just like on the spot, like our song King of Hearts, which has been on the charts all over the world. Germany loves us, but the King of Hearts is Germany. You know, that was a song that we literally wrote in 15 minutes because he just started playing a riff. And I had an idea for this song. I want to do like a King of Hearts gambling sort of thing. And that was the idea. There were no lines or anything until he started playing it. I said, you need to loop that. That's my King of Hearts song. And he just looped it. And I wrote the lyrics right there. And we recorded our scratch and built it from there. So sometimes it's like that. Other times it's very like inspirational. I was going through this divorce and my mom sent me a text message and it said, she was soft enough to bend, but strong enough to stand. And I was like, that's really good, Mom. Like, I'm sure I can find something for that. And I ruminated on it for a while. And I was thinking a lot about, my grandmothers and the struggles that they went through raising their children in the Great Depression. I was thinking about, my great great grandmother whose husband abandoned her with 3 children, thinking about my other great grandmother who made tomato soup out of ketchup and water for her kids. And just all of these, I was just really fascinated by where humanity started and where we have all ended up, based on the sacrifice and the backs of our mothers. And, I was thinking about, I have great grandmothers who I obviously will never meet in this world, but someday I will be able to look down that lineage, all of these women who made my existence possible. And so I had all these pictures going through my head, and I started writing this song about a woman, and it became Holy Water and Hellfire. And the line, she was soft enough to bend and strong enough to stand, is right in the middle of the chorus. And Holy Water and Hellfire has charted in so many different, Nick can tell you more about the charting.
The most important thing about what's happening with Holy Water and Hellfire is that it's become an anthem in the Ukraine.
Yeah.
Right now, we're 25 in the Ukraine, and which is amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it really is.
But there are mothers who are using this song as motivation to get through their day.
Yeah. And, the song in itself is very motivational and inspirational. And it kind of has in a way, it has this to hell with you attitude, because, as mothers, and even as fathers, when push comes to shove, you got to do what you got to do to get by, to get through the day. And the song really is about not judging other people for the choices that they have to make in a moment to survive. And when I wrote this song, obviously this was 2 years ago. I wasn't thinking about, inspiring women and people in a war-torn country. But it was a song about just inspiring people to keep persevering. And I am just so humbled that the Ukrainian people are embracing this song in order to help them get through the day, and
obviously what's happening in the Ukraine is a major tragedy.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. So what these people are living through right now it's insanity. I mean, it just is. All right.
Total hell on earth. It is.
Yes. Okay. And the fact that Sunny Bleau and the Moons can bring just a little bit of respite, just a little bit. I mean, obviously it's a song. Okay. But it just means so much. And when we did this show in Chicago, we dedicated it to the people in Ukraine, and we've been dedicating shows to them. And it's really important, I think, for artists to have a sense of what's going on in the world. And when people find solace in something you've done, then you need to be humbled by that. Yes. You need to be just very to it. So I don't want anything I'm saying here to sound, conceited or arrogant or anything. That's not what I'm trying to do. We were amazed. Yeah. We found out about it literally a week ago, that they were playing the song via streaming media, thanks to Apple making music available to the Ukrainian people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Amazing.
Yeah. Okay. I had no idea. Okay. So,
and isn't it Elon Musk's special satellite that's actually getting the Ukrainian people internet? So like ability to stream and do stuff. So thank you, Mr. Musk.
Yeah. Oh, I know. Really, seriously.
Yeah.
We may have a product that's being utilized, but there's all these great people
Yeah.
who did all this great stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, that made that possible. So,
Yeah.
we're a small part of it, a very small part of it. But wow, that's to me is really incredible. The most incredible thing that's ever happened in my life.
And I don't think the song itself, obviously, when it was written, it was not written with any kind of real political intention. It just is a story. And I am not a openly political sort of person at all, and I don't want to politicize anything. I think that whole idea, though, to me, what's so moving is that it really goes to show that music is a unifier. It is a universal unifier of people, and music, heals people, and we find comfort in it. And I think as an artist, that's my job. It's not to get up on a platform and be political, or to send out tweets and whatever. My job is to unify people through music. And I really believe that this particular song, Holy Water and Hellfire, is doing that.
Yeah. And that's also on your album as well?
Yes. Our album, Breakfast Served Cold, came out on October 1st. It debuted at number 38 on the Blues Billboard chart, correct?
The
Blue Apple's Blues. Okay.
Chart.
There's lots of charts. That's there are a lot of charts, and they all get kind of confused and muddled at times in my head. But yeah, that was very exciting. Holy Water and Hellfire is on that album. And the album itself, Breakfast Served Cold, kind of gives you this visual of you're going to get what you get. And it's just raw. It's out there. It's in your face. And, we don't hold anything back. If you treat me really good, you might get a warm breakfast. But if you don't treat me good, it's going to be cold. And, it's take it or leave it kind of feel. The album, I would say, although it's blues, it's eclectically blues, I guess. We have these elements of jazz. The only song that we didn't write the lyrics for on the album is Autumn Leaves, Besame Mucho. So we took this song that was written right after World War II, 1945, by a French poet that became one of Johnny Mercer's biggest songs here in the United States. And we put that song and, of course, Besame Mucho, which I sing in Spanish, in one song that has this really great kind of dance beat sort of number. But those two songs are songs that are full of pain and sorrow in a way, and that longing.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Hello, Saver. Whether you're saving for that trip to the tropics or saving for an emergency, now is the time to take advantage of Wells Fargo's savings options. Wells Fargo offers savings accounts that can help you save towards your goals. So, what are you saving for? Visit a Wells Fargo branch or wellsfargo.com/save to open a savings account today.
Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., member FDIC.
So that's the only song on the album that we did not write, but Nic did the arrangement for.
The collection of 10 songs, wonderful collection too. A little bit of Fleetwood Mac-ish influence on there as well. Is it Let It Slide where it kind of has that bit of an influence?
Yes. Yeah, Let It Slide. Now, Let It Slide, we actually, one of our writers at the studio also helped us with that one, as with Denver.
And it was, yes.
But Let It Slide is personally is my favorite song on the album. Okay. Just from my writing aspect of it. I just love, I love the cool groove. Okay. And I remember when I first wrote that groove, okay, the guitar part, and then Alex and Paul got a hold of it. Alex Karazinski on the bass.
Yes.
Of course, the great Paul Kastic is our drummer.
Yeah.
When they got a hold of it, they were like, wow, this is going to be amazing when this thing is done, because it just floats, right? The whole idea was floating.
Yeah.
And making that the first track on the album, I think was a statement.
Yes.
In and of itself. Okay. Because we are floating. That's what we're doing. All right. We're trying to figure out how to get from point A to point B. We don't really know who we are yet.
Yeah.
We're a year into this. Okay. But I feel like Let It Slide kind of defines the period that we're at.
And Let It Slide was originally written by Tom Bailey, our friend, and the original lyrics were. And when he came into the studio and played it for us, just singing, playing the piano and stuff, I started crying. Again, this was the beginning of my divorce. And it was like, you go through life and you want to do all these great things, but you just don't. And it was like, I was just crying. I was at that point, like, I want to do great things. I want to be able to help people. I want to be able to do these things, but we just don't. And fear is one of those things that, keeps us from doing it. And so for me, having that song being the first track is kind of like where I was before I made the transition to Sunny Blue, to being Sunny Blue all the time and making that brand. So that's what the song really means to me.
Nice. Yeah, it can be very scary when you're going on a life change like that. And divorce gives you a lot of inspiration and material, doesn't it not?
It does.
It does. Yeah.
We can all relate to that somehow, you have a lot of other interesting tracks on this album. Denver, what exactly happened in Denver? This is kind of
okay. Denver. I love duets. Like, I love the Faith Hill Tim McGraw duets of like the late 90s. You know what I mean? Just big orchestration. And when I was originally writing, I was writing for country artists. That I always thought, I'm going to be, if I was a singer, I'd be a country singer. I write country songs. Okay. So I was in the middle of writing this beautiful love ballad duet about these two strangers meeting and what would happen in Denver. Okay. You get it? It's beautiful. I know.
The concept's beautiful.
He hated it. He hated it. And it was because it was very like, what will happen to and he didn't like it. He's like, I want to know what happens, And
it was more than that. It was more than it was. I want to chime in. Okay. So to me, it was like a one-act play.
And
to tell all the story.
Yeah, I can totally see that.
7-8 minutes long.
It was not 7-8 minutes long.
It would be to tell the whole story. Okay.
Good.
And I'm a guy. All right. I'm totally male. Okay. I have I can't vision it. Do you know what I'm saying? I was having difficulty visioning it. Okay. So then I said, let's do this. Let's bring another one of our writers in, Mr. Dan Scott. Yeah. Okay. And I want you to perform the song for him the way she originally wrote it. Okay. And let's see what he says. Okay. Because it could be just me. I could be just dense. Right. And I'm not getting
right.
So tell the rest of the story.
So Dan's reaction, although very polite, was basically in line with Nic's. And I was like, you guys just don't get it. You don't get it. And Dan was like, well, why don't you just write the song from the woman's perspective and talk about the heat in Denver between these two people. And I was like, oh, I guess I think about it. I guess, it'd be a lot easier to write just from a woman's perspective anyway than trying to do a duet, So I said, okay. So I came back the next day with some slight modifications to the lyrics, and
they were pretty slight.
Very, very slight.
Okay. It wasn't like a total rewrite.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's what I'm trying to tell you. I think Dan, I couldn't put the right words on it, but I think Dan did. I think Dan basically said, look, you're basically 80% woman's perspective.
Yeah.
Now, just make it all the woman's perspective.
Right.
Yeah. Write it. And so then I switched it to first person.
Right.
Well, like all first person woman. And
then it flowed.
And he gave me a little different arrangement to sing over, and little bouncy, sort of flirtatious bounciness to it. And I was like, okay, I can dig this. And one of the parts I absolutely love about that song is the part in the chorus where where they say, we spent the night a mile high, and all the guys in the band yell it, and the audience starts yelling it too. And so it kind of becomes like a sing-along at that point,
right.
So it is a fun, flirtatious song, completely made up. I've never been to Denver.
It's a great airport.
But,
And now I'm afraid to take her there.
But Denver, man, if Denver loves that song, I'd love to perform it in Denver. So
yes,
call me.
Yeah, really, seriously. And then this segues into about what Leanne, your manager, was saying, and the edge of COVID and traveling, taking the bus, and in the Russian war thing, and with the gas prices as they are, I'm sure that's affecting the way you're operating.
Absolutely. This is the thing, with post-COVID, there are so many venues and festivals and stuff they're just backlogged from the last 2 years, trying to get the bands in that were supposed to be in, that, even though you're on the charts and your music is doing very well and is being received, it's like we're really kind of forced to play in smaller venues. And it's which means that they, what you make when you go to these venues, especially now with gas prices, is not covering the cost of the tour bus, to fill it up. And I mean,
it's expensive.
Yeah.
Sure.
This little run we made to Chicago and back, ideally what you'd love to do is to go to Chicago, right, and then go to Wisconsin, and then go to St. Louis, and then what I'm saying. So there's a route.
Going.
Okay, but it's been extraordinarily difficult for us to get routed touring.
Yeah.
So we've been forced to do out and backs.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem with that is you're wasting the fuel, all the fuel way back, right?
Totally.
So that's been really hurtful to us at $5 a gallon for diesel fuel.
Yeah.
Yes. We did this show out in Chicago, and once again we lost money on the show because of fuel cost.
Yeah.
Okay. But if you don't do the shows, you don't have a chance to get your brand out there.
That's
right.
Real catch-22. Yeah.
It's a catch-22, and so we're really hoping to get more shows, more routed shows. Like we go down to Florida or Georgia or whatever. It'd be great if we could do 4 shows, 5 shows down there. Okay, right, and rotate it around
Easily,
and it's just fine.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's what we had expected the markets to want to do. But as Sonny just said, we've been running into this constant venues trying to make good with the acts they had booked in 2020 and 2021 that couldn't perform. Okay. So many of the gigs that we have had so far have been fill-in gigs where those bands just either aren't together anymore, so the spot became available, or they're not ready to perform.
Yeah.
So we've gotten like we did a show in January in Chicago with 1 day's notice.
Yep. That was the first time we were out at Brower House.
1 day's notice.
Yeah.
Okay. So they literally called us the day before and said, could you guys play? Now, we wouldn't have gotten the gig on 319, the one we just did, if we didn't do the one on 128. Okay. But we lost.
Yeah.
I mean, there was nobody there.
Yeah.
I mean, when I say, but I mean 6 people in the audience. Okay. And, paying $10 a ticket. So,
the house gets it at that point. You have to sell so much before you can make anything.
right. And the people that came did buy some merch and stuff like that. But I mean, how much is 6 people going to spend? So,
Yeah.
right.
Oh, gosh.
And the other thing is, like, at this point, it's like, it's different for the other guys in the band, but like, I'm a single mom. I have 4 children.
Oh my gosh.
And at this point, it's like I'm paying to play. And I mean that, like, we're paying for the gas. We're, doing whatever kind of marketing that we have to pay for if we decide to, purchase ad space. But when I leave
it takes
here,
time to make ads.
but when I leave
Right.
here,
Absolutely.
when I leave my house, I have to have somebody with my kids. So, like, for example, we went out to Chicago the other day for basically 2 days and a night, and I had to pay someone, $200 to be with my children. And I didn't make $200 at a show. So it's right now, that's just the reality of running a small business and trying to become, and being a professional artist where we are right now. It's, people, I think a lot of people think, well, they're doing shows, they're touring, whatever, they must be making money. And I think for a lot of artists, that is not the case. Yes, we're musicians, but we are small business owners. And, we have to spend money to make money. And right now we are in this spending money to make money mode. Like, for me personally.
Right now we're in the mode of spending money to make a brand.
Yeah, spending money to make a brand.
That will hopefully bring money in the future.
Yes.
That's, and that's been not exactly what I expected would be the case coming out of COVID.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought for sure we'd be able to get on some supporting roles, where we could open for an Anthony Gomes on a tour, or we could open for, what I'm saying?
You could piggyback on other bigger acts that might be touring.
Right. Well, because their audiences are ultimately our audiences too.
Right.
Okay. And so we complement
And
them.
our brands complement them.
Right. Yeah. Our brands complement. So, eventually Sonny will be adding, AIS, right? Be adding, putting the butts in the seats, if you will. Okay. Yeah. But she has to get known.
Yeah.
Okay. And all venues, regardless, are local.
But I do have to say, the radio stations, whether they're terrestrial or online, and podcasters like yourself, have been extraordinarily supportive of Sunny Bleau and the Moons. And so
Yes.
to celebrate our first anniversary of our first release, He's My Peach, we have recorded a live acoustic version of He's My Peach. It's our anniversary edition that is only going to be available to radio stations. So it will not, people won't be able to stream it. And if they want to hear it, they got to call their local station and request it. And we have sent out like emails to all the stations that we know of that are in our network, with the links, the Dropbox links and the Google Drive links, so that they have the song in whatever format they need it in. We even recorded bumpers for those stations. So they have 2 different bumpers that they can choose from. And we're basically hand delivering it to them and saying, this is for you. And we want to thank you. And so it's not going to be available on any of the streaming platforms. It's exclusively for
It's a radio
radio.
release, strictly radio release.
Yeah. So because it's the radio and the podcasters that have really helped perpetuate the brand over the last year. And radio here in the US and radio in the UK and Europe.
Yeah. And Australia.
And Australia. Yes.
I know.
So, it's like you want to be good to the people that are being good to you. So, it's they have helped us get where we've been. We've had some wonderful, beautiful reviews in different blues magazines and online magazines. And, these are the people that we want to be reaching out to and making sure that they get the material first, that they know about things first, because they have helped our brand, grow. So we are extraordinarily thankful to all of them.
And we're really happy, hopefully, to add you to that list, Robert.
Absolutely. I'd love to be able for you all to tour extensively and make money instead of having to blow this all on gas and everything. I'd love to see you down here in the Atlanta area. We have so many venues over here.
We would love to be there. I mean, literally, it's funny. When you look at Sunny's demographics, she does really well in the South. If you look at her demographics here in just Michigan, okay, all right, outside of Detroit, she does very well. Okay, so when you look at if you go to sunnyblue.com and you look at our show list, you'll see she's booked in Petoskey and Traverse City and Muskegon and okay, all around Michigan shaped like this, all around the outside. Okay, with very little in actually in Detroit. Okay. And Atlanta. In fact, her first radio play was in Atlanta.
Yeah. Oh, I can't remember the DJ's name. A big show, big terrestrial station, I think. But it right out of Atlanta, but I don't remember the guy's name. But he was like brand new. Sunny Bleau, and it was so funny. As soon as he had started playing the song, what song was it? King of Hearts? I can't remember what song he played. And he had introduced us in Atlanta.
It was Winning.
Winning.
It was
okay.
Winning.
So he introduces us on his show, plays Winning, and we get a phone call from GoDaddy saying that our website is about to crash because of all of the people logging onto our website, because we didn't think we'd have any more than a few hundred people on the site at one time. But they're like, you're gonna need to upgrade your website if this continues, because it's going to keep crashing on people.
There you go. Wow, I had no idea.
That was really cool.
Yeah,
that's a good problem to have.
It is. Yeah, your stylings would do very well down here, especially probably the suburbs, the exurbs, and then probably could play in the city. Places like we have a room called Eddie's Attic. I was just at a place last night called the Eastern, which is very new. I saw this band called Sparks, and beautiful venue. It's really, really nice. So a lot of places to play here.
Great.
Well, we would love to come down and play. We absolutely would. So any help you could give, let me know.
Yeah, everybody could come to see me and see how we're talking.
Let Leanne know. Leanne's our go-to gal. Yeah.
She's amazing. Yeah. She's amazing. I've known Leanne since 2014, and all the work that she has done for LaRue, for Chapel Heart, and so many others.
Yeah.
She is just absolutely amazing, and blessed to have her part of the team. That's for sure.
And you're doing really well on social media. I saw some of these videos are nice, especially for your latest single, using some Library of Congress footage and things like that.
Yes.
YouTube channel is really nice.
Yeah,
we got. Thank you very much. We got special permission from the federal government to use those photos.
Yeah.
our director, Jim Gilmore, arranged all of that. All great Depression photos. And to our knowledge, it's the first and only time any of those photos were used in the context of a music video.
Yeah.
So we're pretty excited about that.
That's very exciting. Yes.
Yeah.
And I mean, I love history and I love stories. So having pictures like that in a music video, especially for Holy Water and Hellfire, really, it just really helps to tell the entire story. And I love that music video. It's probably my favorite.
Yeah. And some of those others are on the YouTube channel as well. King of Hearts. I mean, you got
Yes.
good video concepts too, which really helps get the word out and sells you even more.
Yeah. And we've been blessed. We've gotten really good views on them. I mean, we've been a year. I mean, the numbers aren't bad.
Mhm.
You know, the numbers definitely aren't bad. That's for sure. So I'm excited. I'm excited about the prospects for what Sonny Blue and the Moons can be.
Yeah.
You know, and we're just really what I think needs to happen is more people just need to meet Sonny.
Yeah.
Because she's just this bold, bright, curvy, beautiful woman. Okay, that is the sunniest blues you've ever heard.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really what it is. It's the sunniest blues you've ever heard. She's an amazing storyteller. She does incredible work. The preparation she puts in for a live show. I mean, I've toured with major acts that didn't do the work she does. She worries about every detail. She's focused. She wants it perfect for the fans.
Yeah. It's funny. Like when we're rehearsing, you know, we'll run a song or whatever. And if someone says, okay, that was fine, you know, or whatever, I'm like, fine is not a word that I want to hear. It has to be right. Because the way I see it is, you know, I'm not 20 years old, starting a brand, starting a career. You know, I don't have time for it to be fine. It has to be right because I'm 40 now. You know what I mean? Like if we're going to do it, it's got to be right because we don't have time for fine. And that's kind of my mentality when I go on the stage too. And every time I go on the stage, I always like say a prayer. I'm focused and I'm like, God, help me do my best for my children. Because if I have to be away from them in order to make this happen, I have to give it 100% or it's not worth it. So I am all in like 100%. Once I'm introduced and I'm on stage, it is all in and all for them. And of course, for the audience, because though I almost see it as an extension of like, it's like a ministry, to use that word for me. I am on the stage to help people escape, to help them have a friend. I always consider myself to be a really good friend, very friendly. I mean, I have fans that will message us and tell me things that are going wrong in their lives. Will you pray for my sister? Will you do that? You know, that kind of stuff. They're always reaching out to me with things that they're going through. And I think it's because, you know, they feel like they can trust me. And as a blues artist, I feel like when I am performing on stage, I am revealing all of myself to somebody. I am extraordinarily vulnerable and I have to trust the audience with my feelings, you know, and in the same way, they become extraordinarily vulnerable and embrace that. And then you have this shared, it's like church. It's very holy, you know, spiritual kind of experience that I feel like I've only really experienced as a blues artist. I trust them, they trust me, and there is this bond that is formed between the performer and the audience.
Beautiful. And yeah, great lyrics, very insightful, and great new album. Great single that is doing very well and on all the streaming services. So
Absolutely.
Hope to see you down here. Thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely. And don't forget, April 1st, He's My Peach. So if you want the song, we will get that to you. Okay.
Awesome. Awesome. I will definitely. And I promote people once we, put these episodes in the can.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever new you have out, and I'll be on your list.
Yeah.
I'll keep promoting that we spoke here.
Great. Oh, and I was going to say, we are working on more releases for the year. We're going to be doing a lot of live room recordings, live recordings from shows. And I'm pretty sure our album, which we are going to plan to have another album out this year, probably towards the end of the year, is going to be all live tracks. So for people that really like the live track sound, and they're really going to be excited to hear our next album.
Good deal. Thank you so much for your time. Really enjoyed it.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you for having us on.
Take care. Have a good
Pleasure to
one.
meet you.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.